All right. Hey, everybody. How are you doing? Good to see everybody again. Another Smrt Live class, English for academic purposes. Happy to have you here today. I see Nora's there, Rosa's there. We have a few new faces as well. Mina is here from Morocco. Hi, Mina. How are you? Atal, Deval, hello. How are you? Good to have you back. Bindia, you made it in time today. This is great. Who else do we have? So we have Isa, or is it Iosa? Let me know in the chat, but hello, welcome back. And I think that's everybody. No, Khalid. Hello, Khalid. How are you? Good to have you here. So we have an exciting class today. We've talked a lot about writing and reading and how they're connected, right? Because whenever you read something that is written, you read something, it had to have been written, right? Somebody wrote what you're reading. And a lot of students forget that. They forget somehow that these words on the page came out of someone else's mind. Think about that for a second. That's pretty exciting, right? Whatever you read, anywhere you read it, in a book, on a website, people created those words. They didn't just appear out of nowhere. They were written down by people, right? So it is so important to always remember that reading and writing are forever connected. You cannot pull them apart. They're one thing. They're just one thing. Wow, everybody's being very active in the chat. That's awesome. Jose, welcome. Good to have you here from warm, sunny Mexico. Okay, so Omar. Thank you, Rosa. So it's not Isa, it's Omar. Okay. Let's see. And Olga, it's your first night tonight. Well, good night, good evening to you. Usually we don't say good night in English to say hello. It means goodbye. And it's afternoon here, but good evening would be a way to say hello. So good evening to you, Olga. Happy to have you. And somebody's asking if there's anyone from Sweden. Omar, you're from Sweden? Really? From Sweden. Are you studying in Sweden? Or are you Swedish and you just happen to speak Arabic? It's interesting. Shivan, you're back. Class number 2. Welcome. So happy to have you. Thank you for being here. All right. And Rachola, I think is how I say your name. Hello. Welcome. We have students from Bangkok. We have students studying in Australia. We have students studying in Mexico and Algeria. This is a great class. Imagine this amazing class where all of these seats are representatives of different countries all over the world. That's what we have right here. This is so amazing. I, of course, am Joshua Porter. I'm the director here at Spokane College of English Language in the USA. And we're about to get started. Abdulaziz, hello, how are you? So we are, okay. Shivan, not Shivan, I'm sorry, Shivan. Shivan is how I pronounce your name. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that correctly now. Shivan. If not, please tell me. I'm always happy to be corrected and pronounce your names correctly. Okay. And one from Russia. Yes, Olga. We want to put Russia on the map as well. Okay. So we are going to begin right away today. For any new students and for Shivan, yes, Omar will get started right now. Just super quickly, I want to show you guys where, if you're not a premium subscriber, you can sign up. That would be this link right here. And if you want to come to America and study with me, you can go to the apply link, which would be right here. Just fill it out and we will help you with everything. Okay, enough of that. We are going to go straight into our lesson. I'm going to take attendance for our premium subscribers. I was just finishing up grading some of the homework for them earlier. And then we're going to go straight into our lesson. So, like I said, we have been studying how reading and writing are so connected. Language has many aspects. A vocabulary word from earlier classes, aspects. And parts, right? Sections that combine together to make something bigger, something whole, which is English, the English language. So we have lots of reasons for learning English. This is English for academic purposes, and we learn English perhaps because we want to go into university, or because we want to enter the workforce, or have better communication skills, maybe online, over the phone. There's lots of reasons why we learn English, but there is only one reason we all use English: to communicate effectively. That's the reason we use any language. Language exists for one reason, and that reason is to communicate effectively. So, Rachela, I don't think that's actually how I say your name, but that's how I'm going to say it until you correct me. Rachela. I'm not a new teacher. I've taught for 8 years. I've taught English for 8 years in America and overseas. And I've been a teacher here at Spokane College of English Language for the last 6 years. I'm going to turn my phone on to silent so it doesn't bother us at all during class. So no, I'm not a new teacher. I've taught for a while, but I remind my students all the time that every good teacher always remains a student. So I'm not a new teacher, but I will always be a student. Teachers, like their students, continue to learn as time goes on. You must continue to learn, otherwise you should not teach. Okay, so we are going to talk about crafting an essay, writing an essay. Now, some of you premium subscribers that have been with us for a while have already written an essay. If you haven't, this is going to be your first essay. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go over all the aspects of preparing and crafting an essay, and then I'm going to leave you today with the task of actually starting an essay and writing an essay. Now, I can only grade the essays from our premium subscribers, but even if you're not a premium subscriber, you can still write an essay and show it to someone and ask them to give you feedback. Hopefully they're a native speaker, or even better, an English teacher, so they can give you constructive feedback, helpful feedback. But we are all going to try to craft an essay today, start an essay. So, Rachel, no, I'm not new in Smart English. A little bit. Sean and Mark have been here longer than me, but I started about the same time as Neil and Nicole. We all work here at Spokane College of English Language, so that's how long I've been around doing Smart English. And I've taught Smart English in a classroom. I've taught Smart Live only these last 2 quarters or so, but I've taught Smart English in the classroom for the last 6 years. So I've taught this class that we're studying right now, English for Academic Purposes, about 12 times. No, not that many, maybe 8 times. 8 times I think I've taught this class. Okay, so we are going to look at a specific topic. Usually when you're in academics, you're studying at a university or a college, your professor will come in, they'll say, all right, class, today we're going to study blah, blah, blah. And they'll say, you're going to write an essay for me on blah, blah, blah. And they will give you all the parameters. They'll give you the page numbers they want, the format they want. We're going to use APA format. Now, if you don't understand APA format, we have a good series of classes that we did before. There are 3 of them. They're each an hour long, and we introduce the idea of APA. And then by the end of those 3 classes, you should be able to have a good understanding of what APA looks like, even how to use APA formatting in your writing. Very nice to have you in class as well, Rachel. So this is for premium subscribers 5-3C, Essay 2, and this is Effects of Immigration on Labor. Labor here is spelled the Canadian way. In America, we don't use the U. It's just Labor. So you can choose which way you want to spell it. I always spell it without the U, just the O. So we start to begin our essay with just an idea. What do we want to write about? What is our topic? And I'll give you this advice. When you choose your essay topic, most students that I have in class, if I say, okay, what would you want to write about? If you could choose any topic, the answers they give are inevitably bad at first. And the reason they're bad is they're too broad. They're too big of topics. Students will tell me, I want to write about love. Whew. Okay, good luck. That's a terrible essay topic because it's so broad. It can be so big. You can love your family. You can love a movie. You can love your spouse or your significant other. You can love a certain kind of coffee. I mean, I can love this coffee. I can, I love this coffee. Is that the love I'm talking about? No, it's too broad of a topic. Also, topics like sports or entertainment, even music. Music is way too broad. The best essay topics, even if you're going to write a long essay, are specific. So if you told me you wanted to write about your love of a specific brand of coffee in a specific country, I'd say, okay, that sounds a little more interesting. Why do you love that coffee? Why is it so important to you? What significance does it have in your life? Those are questions you might be able to answer. So when we talk about essay topics, we want to focus in. The more narrow your topic, the easier it will be to write about. And that's the fear many of my students express, is that they say, oh, but Joshua, I don't know what I will write about. I need a broad topic. I need lots of things to pull from. I promise you, the more specific your topic, the easier it will be to write about. So, we are choosing a specific topic today. Our topic for our class is thinking on this question. What are the causes of Canada's labor shortage, and what effect do immigrant or migrant workers have on the situation? So let's think about that question first. We are not talking about labor shortage of the world. We're going to focus on Canada's labor shortage. Nora relates to this. Good. And Rosa looks like does as well. We don't want our subjects to be too broad. Olga says, I would like to write about my favorite film. It's possible. You can write about your favorite film. That's specific enough. But it is, if you just wrote about loving movies, that would be too broad. I would say you could craft an essay about your favorite film. It would be a different kind of essay than we're doing. The reason I talked about love and film and coffee is those are easy subjects to think about for all of us, no matter our situation. I'm going to bring it back to academics. The truth is, if you're studying academic English, if you want to learn how to write an academic essay, you're going to write more analytical essays and research-based essays than you will opinion essays. So my favorite movie is an opinion essay or a narrative essay. It's a little more personal. It's more like a blog or a journal or a diary. You're writing about your life, which is fine, and you always should put your voice in your writing. But here, this is going to be research-based. We're going to need data, facts, research. So, Rosa asks, how can I know that my essay contains 500 words? That's a good question. Let me come back to it in just a minute. And Rachela says, I would like to talk about my first year as a student at university. Also a good essay. That's a good essay too. It's a narrative essay. A narrative essay is an essay about your life story. So it is good. But again, I'm going to bring the focus back to academic essays, research-based essays. That's what we're going to do today. First year experience. It'd be first year's experience there. I can help you with that sentence later, though. So what are the causes of Canada's labor shortage, and what effect do immigrant or migrant workers have on the situation? So we're not just talking about labor shortage, we're talking about Canada's labor shortage, specific, right? And then not just the shortage in general, that's still a pretty broad term or broad idea, but what effect do immigrant or migrant workers have on the situation? Okay, good. Now we're getting specific. So we're going to discuss 3 different aspects of how immigration may or may not be the answer to labor shortages in Canada. So you can kind of see the beginning of an opinion forming in your essay, right? We're probably going to form an opinion by the end of it. Do migrant or immigrant workers benefit Canada in their labor shortage crisis, or do they not benefit it? Is it not helpful? Do they not alleviate some of that shortage? Hardest obstacle for immigrants, especially newcomers. Nader, where did you get that information? I'm curious. You're talking about the right subject here, but I'm curious where you found your source there. Okay, so here are 3 aspects that we're going to consider, and we're going to outline and go into these in body paragraphs within the essay. So you're sort of being given your outline. We already have the outline prepared for you. In class before, we went over how to create an outline, sort of how to make notes about what we want to write about. We talked about how sometimes your introduction paragraph is actually the very last paragraph you write. We talked about crafting a thesis statement, and then how to structure our 5-paragraph essay. So we have the outline ready for you. Rosa says she used to count the lines when her teacher asked her to write 20 lines. Yeah, there's an easier way. Nader, you're in Canada. Awesome, excellent. What city are you in? Okay, so Rosa asked how we know what our word count is. Well, the easiest way, if I'm being honest, is just to go to Google and type word counter. So here, if we have, it's just wordcounter.net, and if we have any amount of words, so if I want to know how many words are in this section of this website, right? How many words is this? I don't want to count all those words. I just want to paste and try it out. Don't want to try that. We're going to go basic. So 126 words, 753 characters. Now I'd like to explain that. Characters. A character is an apostrophe or a question mark. You notice on my computer it says that these words are spelled wrong because they're the Canadian way. Labor, here in the US, labor. So characters and words. So there's 126 words here, and then there's 750 characters. So that's each dash and space, I believe, is in there too. I think they count spaces. Yeah, see, 749. So every space and dash counts as a word. There is another way we can do this too that might be even more convenient for you, Rosa, and everybody. If I have a Google Doc, so here's my Google Documents. I'm going to create one here just as a test. No thanks. So this is our word count, and I'm just going to paste the same. Let's make it a little smaller so we can see the same web page here. If I want to know how much I've written, how many words I've written, I can simply just go into my Google Documents and go select everything, hit Tools, and it is right here, word count. So Tools and word count, or Control-Shift-C, and it tells me also, 126 words, 753 characters. Okay. Let's see. Nora says she's still a freshman, so that's why she isn't asked to write a certain amount of words. It really depends on your professor or your teacher. Some will ask you for a certain number of words. Some will ask you for a certain number of pages or paragraphs. I've had professors throughout my life ask for all of those. I want you to write a 12-paragraph essay, or I want you to write a 6-page essay, single-spaced or double-spaced. APA, as we learned, we're going to use double spaces. So just as a recap there, your text should be Times New Roman, size 12, and you should use double spacing, which is this little button here, or you simply go to Format, Line Spacing, Double. Okay? So that is APA format. It's the format that I want all of our premium subscribers to use when you write your essay before you send it to me. Make sure that's the case. That'll be my first comment. Oh, it's not double spaced. Oh, it's not size 12. Oh, it's not Times New Roman. My professors did it to me too. It's not fun, but it's going to be the first thing I look at for you. Okay. Hello, Chari. Welcome. Good to have you here. Yeah, and Bindia says, Shivan says, use Word, it can count automatically. Same thing, same as Google Docs here. Word, Pages, all of the word processing programs use or can give you a word count. So back to our lesson here. We are again studying how to write an essay on the effects of immigration on labor in Canada. So these are our body paragraphs. Like I said, we have the outline for you. Your first body paragraph is going to answer this question. What has caused Canada's labor shortage? What has caused this? So what is the cause of it? It's a pretty simple question, but it might have a very complex answer. Sometimes the simplest questions have very, very complex answers, or no answer at all. Just opinions. So we're going to answer what caused Canada's labor shortage. For the second body paragraph, we are going to answer this question. What is a positive effect of immigration and migrant labor? Remember, specific to Canada. That is our essay. Canada's labor shortage. So what is a positive effect of immigration and migration on labor? And last body paragraph, so this is going to be paragraph number 4, 3 body paragraphs, but we do have our introduction. Body paragraph 3 or paragraph number 4 is going to answer the question, what is a negative effect of immigration or migration on labor, immigrant or migrant labor? So, don't worry about this. This is something different. Steps to writing the essay. Number 1 step, think about the question. I know this says research, but I like a step before that. The step before that is think about the question. Make sure we're truly answering the prompt. Have we all heard the word prompt before? I typed it in the chat there, prompt. What is a prompt? A prompt is the statement or question or series of statements and questions that pose an idea or an impetus for writing an essay. It's the exigency, it's the motivation for writing the essay. Sometimes it's a question, sometimes it is a statement, and you form an opinion around it. So, we're going to think about the topic of migrant labor, immigration labor in Canada. So Canada has a labor shortage. That's the main issue. Canada's labor shortage. And then we're going to research and analyze the effects of immigration and migration on this issue. So I'm just going to read what's written here in Smrt. You will need to use sources provided below to find information. Facts and details that support the points you are making in an essay. to find these facts. Your final essay must have at least 4 sources, 4, taken from this list below, but cannot include more than 6. 6 is your maximum, 4 is your minimum. This first step involves you reading information in each web source and taking notes on each. So do you see how everything we've studied so far is kind of coming together right here? These sources, these 4 to 6 sources, are going to be your works cited, your bibliography, your reference page. Remember in class when we talked about these? Olga or Shivan, I know you're new to class. You can go back and watch old classes that we had if you want to know more information about the things I'm talking about. But Rosa, Bindia maybe, Jose, and who else would be in here? Nora, you guys probably have seen some of those classes and remember those topics. So those 4 sources you're going to give in a reference page at the end of your essay in APA format. So you may find up to 2 additional websites on your own, but these must be articles of 500 words or more and cannot be summaries such as Wikipedia. Don't even worry about that. I don't want you to find other sources. I want you to stick to these sources, please. But you can choose 4 to 6, and you're going to use those as sources of information to make your point in your essay, to support your thesis, okay? I just want to check the chat here. Rosa says, this reminds me of what I did last year in your exams, but you were reading the questions in a different way from your colleagues. This is very similar to any experience you're going to have in an English 101 class in college or university. Even higher level classes will use this same strategy, this same structure for creating essays. So these are our sources. Let's just check some of these out. Credible sources we've talked about in class a little bit. This is gettheknow.ca. It's a news article that links here. This is the Huffington Post, a rather respected news organization, entity. And these are just news articles, right? This is the Financial Post, another known publication. And then we have other financial posts. We have the Toronto Sun, which is a popular news outlet, publication site. We also have Statistics on Canada. Statistics on Canada. So this is probably a publication that was in a journal or could be sourced from various places, but hard numbers, facts. We also have the University of Ottawa. Universities are generally trusted sources, depending on the university, of course. But universities publish work. This is from the University of Ottawa. Then we have the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Oop. And this is actually, a PDF. So this was published by the U.S. Department of State. Governmental sites are usually trusted sources. Shivan, some of these sources are from journals, some are from governmental sites, some are from news sites. So it's sort of all over, but we just want you to use these pre-found sources for your essay. So this is a lot of information. As you're looking at all of this, all of these websites, all of these charts, infographics, statistics, there is no way you would be able to read all of this and have time to write an essay in 1 week, right? So we have to use some of our reading strategy. We have to look for titles, changing family structure. So I know everything below here, I'm trying to zoom in for you. Everything below here is related to changing family structure. I can also read the topic sentences of paragraphs. People currently divorced constitute a small portion of older populations. I know that this whole paragraph is going to talk about the population of elderly divorcees. So people who have been divorced that are elderly. Here we can look at this topic sentence. Childlessness is another important factor that will affect caregiving but has received relatively scant attention. So this paragraph is going to focus on the topic of childlessness, but all of these topics are under the idea of changing family structure, and all of the information is under the idea of why population aging matters, a global perspective. So we have the main publication title, then we have subsections, and then we have topic sentences of paragraphs. Do you see how the structure kind of works and how we can search for information? Another tip I'm going to give you, if you are looking for specific information. So if I am looking specifically for the topic of childlessness, I can use Command F or Control F to search a PDF or a website. Childlessness, I type it up here, and it is found in two different spots in this publication. One is here, and one is down here, which is probably right below. Same paragraph, yeah. So you can use Command F or Control F to search for some of these. Scan and skim the articles, Rosa. Nora, good point. Yes, skimming and scanning. That's what we want to do, right? Here's also the keyboard shortcut, which you guys should know, but you can use that to search for specific words. Rosa says 32 pages, I won't choose that. Exactly, what Nora said is correct. You don't have to read the whole thing. In fact, it is a bad idea to read every single word of every single article on this topic. We just want to find supporting evidence. I mean, if an article really interests you, go ahead, read the whole thing. But for the purpose of writing our essay, we're trying to find data and facts to support our thesis. We do have to make sure our source is credible, and we do have to read enough to understand the context of the data or statistic or information that we're using. We have to understand where this comes from, but you do not have to read all 32 pages. So you're going to choose 4 to 6 of these sources, and you're going to do some research. So if you're a premium subscriber or if you're really invested in this class and you want to try to write an essay, tonight and tomorrow and the next day, you're probably going to spend those days doing some research, reading, finding out about your topic, okay? There's an article here also from the World Health Organization, WHO, which is known all over the world. World Health Organization publishes a lot of information about a lot of different topics, but this is another very long document. It is many, many pages. I don't know how many this is. Page 56. It's a long document. You're not going to read the whole thing. It would probably be boring to read the whole thing, actually. And then there's Department of Finance Canada. So these sources have all been found for you. You can trust them all as credible sources and use them in your essay. So these are your topics of your body paragraphs, right here. What has caused Canada's labor shortage? What is a positive effect of immigrant or migrant labor? And what is a negative effect? So that's how we're going to structure our essay. As I scroll down here, we're going to use patterns we've learned for our outline. We're going to have outline patterns. We're not going to use full sentences. I do want to see what you craft for an outline. So your essay is going to include a few different things. It's going to include an outline. Your rough draft will be your attempt at APA, your title page, your essay, and your reference page or works cited. And you'll send all that to me, and then I'll give you edits, and then we'll have a final draft. So this is going to take a little bit of time. It's going to go into next week and maybe the week after. We're going to talk more about writing and crafting essays. So we're going to use the outline we create, and then our first draft is going to be making full sentences out of those ideas. And our draft needs a reference section with the sources. So we're going to do our research as we make our outline, sort of at the same time. And then we're going to start crafting our first essay. So remember, our draft and final essay must follow APA criteria. We're going to use, well, this is paper size. Just use Google Docs. That's the best, because then I can make edits for you easily. We'll talk about margins later. Just make sure your font size is 12, your color is black. This says use Arial. Do not use Times New Roman, please, for me. And double space. Don't worry about the rest of this. We will look at that more when we go through our edits testing APA or review our APA video, okay? And page breaks. Remember, you make a page break by pressing Control plus Enter in Google Docs, or Command plus Enter. This will be, Mehdi, this will be an official essay. This is going to be APA-style essays, just like in university, just like in an academic institution, a college or university. I have taught at colleges and universities before, and most all colleges and universities accept APA or MLA formatting, depending on the school of college you're in. Arts and humanities and that sort of type of field generally uses MLA, and hard sciences, engineering, mathematics, they generally use APA formatting. So, what questions do we have so far? We have about 10 minutes or so, and I have prepared for you this time, premium subscribers, a hangout after class. So we're going to end class about 2:20 today. Because I'm part of the hangout, I'm going to join you guys. I'm going to say hello. You get a one-on-one chat with me. If you're not a premium subscriber, you can become one. Just follow the link I sent earlier, or it's in the comments section of the video you're watching right now. And we're going to talk about our essays. We're going to have a discussion and talk about what sources we want to use, what we think some of the positives will be, the negatives will be, etc. What I'm going to do for you right now, though, is I'm going to pretend that I'm a student. I am a student, but a student of this class, and I am going to make a rough outline, just a very nascent, rough outline about my essay that I want to write. Okay. Rosa, I'll answer that in just a moment. Let me go ahead and get through this part here. So first of all, I'm going to make sure that I'm using Times New Roman, size 12, and I have double spaced. Perfect. Now I'm going to say essay outline, and I start with my introduction paragraph, right? I start with my introduction paragraph. Intro paragraph. So my introduction paragraph is going to have 5 sentences. We're going to have a hook. We're going to have my 3 topic sentences. So topic number 1, topic sentence number 2, topic sentence number 3, and then I'm going to have my thesis. Okay? And I will note that your thesis is not going to be complete in your introduction paragraph. It's going to be an attempt at your main point. Your true thesis will come at the end of your essay, but this is like a more general thesis. It can even sometimes be in the form of a question that we answer later in our essay. Yes, Shivan, I do mean that we are going to make a plan for our essay. That's exactly what we're doing right now. I know we didn't do Hangouts the last few days, Rosa. That's why we're definitely doing it today. Trust me, I've got it all set up for us. It is counting down as we speak. So our hook, students will ask, what is a hook? A hook is an interesting sentence, something that grabs your attention and gives the general topic of your essay. So I'm going to go back. What is the topic of our essay? What are the causes of Canada's labor shortage, and what effect do immigrant or migrant workers have on the situation? So I'm going to think about that and what question I'm going to answer. You could write something like, and this is just an example, are migrant workers a good or bad thing for Canada's labor shortage? Now, this is not a very complex sentence. This is not a very, it's not a very good sentence. It's a simple question. This is just, these are just notes though, right? This is just an idea of a hook. And remember, in our outline, we don't actually make full sentences like this. But I want you to see what I'm thinking so that when I make my notes, they make sense to you. So I might want to start with a question like that to grab my audience. What are migrant workers a good or bad thing for Canada's labor shortage? But remember, this is an outline, so we just make notes. So I'm going to say migrant workers. I can even use abbreviation like that and just say good or bad. Right? I could even use symbols if it helps me in my memory. I could say good or bad, positive or negative. Okay? Now this is just notation English. It's just making notes. Now topic 1, 2, and 3, we know we're going to answer these questions. So topic 1, of course, is going to be what has caused Canada's labor shortage? What has caused the labor shortage? Cause, right? What is the cause? Topic 2, what is the positive effect of migrant labor? Topic 3, what is a negative effect? So here I'm just going to write positive. Here I'm going to write negative. Positive and negative. I might even type the words here for me to remember. Positives, negatives. This will remind me what I want to write about in my body paragraphs. Thesis. Now your thesis you might not come up with until you do some research. You might have an opinion, but that might change. So I'd like to take a survey in the chat. We have a couple minutes left. What do you think do you think it's a positive thing or a negative thing to have migrant workers come in and help with Canada's labor shortage? Just type in the chat right now, thumbs up, thumbs down, smiley face, frowny face, plus sign, minus sign, the word positive, the word negative. I want everyone to write those in the chat right now. Tell me what you think. Is the introduction of migrant workers into Canada a good solution for the labor shortage, or is it a bad solution for the labor shortage? Tell me now. What do you guys think? What is your opinion? What is your opinion? I'm going to ask you this in the chat as well, in the Hangout that we have in just a few minutes. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What do you guys think? It's important to have these discussions, okay? And in class is the place to have these discussions, to tell everyone, oh, I think it's a good idea because blah, blah, blah. Or I think it's a bad idea because of this. These are just our opinions. We haven't done our research yet. We're just talking about the subject. So what do you think? Rosa thinks it's a bad idea. Thank you for being the first answer there, Rosa. Appreciate that. So Rosa thinks it's a bad idea. In the chat, I'm going to ask you why. Why do you think it's a bad idea? Does anyone think it's a good idea? Jose, thank you, Jose. Jose thinks it's a good idea. We're going to talk about why in the chat. Do we think it's good? Do we think it's bad? Olga thinks both. It's a good and a bad idea. I like that. And so I will ask you why. What is your rationale, right? Why could it be good? Why could it be bad? These are the questions that we're going to ask. Meaty thinks that it is good. In his opinion, he thinks it's good. Okay, I want to know why. These are great opinions. And it's good to have, Nora thinks it's bad. So we're going to ask Nora why in the chat. Okay, yeah, so I love that. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You guys are great. Thank you for being such awesome students. I really appreciate that. So our thesis, as you can probably guess, since our body paragraph 1 is what is the problem, What is the cause? Body paragraph 2 is, what are the positives? Body paragraph 3 are, what are the negatives? Our conclusion paragraph, our thesis, is probably going to be our decision. And the truth is, both decisions, both end result ideas, it's a good thing or it's a bad thing. Both of those can create good thesis statements as long as you support your thesis with evidence, with facts, with statistics, with proof that supports your thesis. So this is going to be a really fun series of classes coming up where we're going to have varying opinions. Some students are going to choose to write an essay that says, it's a great thing. Here's why I believe this. Some of you are going to write essays that say, no, this is terrible, and here's why I believe this. But our belief is not enough. Our opinion is not enough. We need to support it with facts from credible sources. These sources here that we're going to look at. So I have to leave you guys right now. This is going to be the end of class for today. We're going to come back to this topic. Don't worry. Premium subscribers, your homework assignment is to do some research over the next few days. We have class tomorrow, so I'm going to see you guys tomorrow, same time, 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll talk more about this, but what I'd like you to do tonight, your only homework tonight, is to simply do some research. Visit this page, go to these sources. If you don't have access to the curricula, you can try to find your own sources. Make sure it's credible. Go to the World Health Organization. Go to the Vancouver Sun, Toronto Sun, University of Ottawa. Search around. See if you can find some information regarding this topic. And then we will talk more about it tomorrow. Okay? And we'll start to make our own outlines. So, thank you guys so much. I got to say goodbye right now because I'm going to set up the chat. Premium subscribers, check your email in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, you will get a link that will go to our live Hangout chat where I will be waiting for you, okay? Have a great day, everybody, and I will see you guys later. Thanks so much. Bye, everybody.